Morning all. Just out in the onion fields here this morning. They've lifted the onions now, they're all gone. So the soil is bare, we've had a lot of rain. So I'm out looking for Neolithic tools, which is always a fun little challenge. Well, straight away, that's a piece of flint that's been knapped. Not into anything in particular, but that's a piece that's been punched off a larger block. As you can see there, the point of impact, the bulb of percussion, which is only caused when that's hit with another solid object, quite irregular force, which is what removes the flakes. So I'm basically looking for anything that looks like a knocked off piece of flint. Again, yeah, that's not a finished tool, but it's got the same hallmarks of hammer percussion. So that's a flake, they've knocked off a larger piece. That one, I'd say, yeah, it's another flake. So there's a lot of flakes, which means they were busy. They've been here making tools. I found one this morning, but it's nothing very spectacular, but we'll show you. This edge here is the working edge. You can just see a row of very neatly nibbled flakes on that edge. Completely flat that side. So all of these little chips have been knocked off in the same direction, so that's deliberate. That's what we call an end scraper. It's simply used for scraping hides, probably to make clothing. The most common tool you'll find out here is scrapers. So a single-use disposable tool, they'd literally make them, throw them down in the ground, and that was it. They weren't needed more than once. So they're here in abundance, and I'm not here to take them away. I'm just looking to find them. I very rarely take tools unless they're in a position where they're going to be destroyed or covered up under a road or something. But out here in a field, I leave them where they are, because this is the only evidence that these people were ever here. And I think to take all of that away would be doing them a huge disservice. I've got no need for it. I can take them home, put them on the shelf, but when I go, it's just a load of stones that nobody's going to understand or know where they came from. So I don't tend to take them away. I just enjoy finding them and knowing that whoever made them was here at some point. That's enough to me. I don't need a box full of them. I've done that. I did spend a lot of years picking them up and taking them away, and then began to feel guilty, I suppose. So I donated them all to a local museum where hopefully they can tell a story in some way. But unless it is something spectacular, just a quick look, maybe a photograph, and put it back where it was. But they're here, definitely. As you can see, all of these pieces of flint I'm picking up got the same hallmark, the hammer strike, bulb of percussion. Flints don't break like that on their own. That takes a deliberate hit to produce a stone like that. A lot of the time the working edge, yeah, there it is. Not much to see at all, but for a single-use tool, you've got a sharp blade for a few minutes. Leave it where you found it. So yeah, got my eye open for axes and arrows, but I've only ever found one or two. There's flakes and scrapers and pieces of flint. You can pick them up all day, every day. Where there was a settlement, there'll be evidence. You know, this is going back 5, 6, maybe 7,000 years ago. This patch here would have been a bank of a very wide river. All of this valley would have been a floodplain of river. So up on this bank here would have been a really good spot to camp. I dare say over the other side there by that pylon there's probably another camp, because you'd always live each side of the river. Seasonally I suppose they moved and migrated, but where they lived they left a lot of evidence, if you know what to look for, which is what I'm looking for right now. There's one. Again, this is what you're looking for, that strike point, point of percussion, and the bulb of percussion. The Hertzen cone has travelled through the flint, forcing the flake off. I was walking here with a girl last summer, showing her what to look for. We did find a couple of nice scrapers, but she said, well, how do you see them? I said, well, anywhere I see a flat piece of stone, that generally will be something. So it will lay like that. It's not till you turn it over, you'll see the worked surface. She joked and said, oh, so they're always jam side down. I said, well, yeah, you can look at it like that. It's like you drop a piece of toast. For some reason, any worked piece of flint sits a certain way up in the field, so they're quite easy to spot from a distance, because where you can see a flat rounded shape of a flint, 9 times out of 10 you flip it over and it's got the worked surface underneath. There, see, always that way up, the flakes are on the other side. I've never known why, no one's ever explained to me why, but I'd say 99% of them are exactly that way up. Again, flat side down, flat side up. It's weird, I mean, if you drop it, there you go. It's that way up again. So yeah, one of the mysteries of nature we'll never fully understand. But always a worked flint will lay that way up. Here we go. Classic little thumbnail scraper. Perfectly flat on that side. You can see the working edge quite clearly there. A few dozen chips all at the same angle, at the same place. That's deliberate. That's his working edge. That's the blade that he used for scraping the height. I say he. More than likely it was female. I know when we've done experiments with the public, we've brought skins along and flint scrapers and laid them out and let the public have a go. And it's always the ladies that jump in first, and they seem to really cooperate and work together well and produce a beautiful product without actually being instructed or shown in any way. It's almost like a natural thing that they just do, from what we've seen anyway. And the fellas sort of look at it and think, oh, that looks a bit smelly, I'm not getting involved in that, but we found the girls usually get straight in. So yeah, as you can see, there's no shortage of tools. It's just a case of looking for them and knowing what to look for. I see a lot of people make the mistake on Facebook especially. They'll find a piece of flint and show you it and say, well yeah, look, of course it's a tool that's got the place where the thumb went. Straight away you know that they don't know what they're talking about. They didn't make spaces for the thumb to go. They were not what they were for at all. That's an assumption people always make, that any broken flint is a tool, but the vast majority of it is just pieces they broke off to make the tool, and just because it fits in your hand doesn't make it a tool. But you only upset people when you tell them that. They show you these beautiful flints that they found and treasured for years, thinking they've got some rare mystical piece of equipment, and it's just a piece of broken flint. But a lot of the time it's kind of, they just say, well, that's nice, and not actually take that magic off them, because it doesn't come along many times in a lifetime. I certainly don't get any pleasure from taking it away from people, so if they show me a flint, I'll nod and smile and say, oh, that's nice. You haven't got to be a dick about it, but a lot of the time it's certainly not a tool. If it's man-made a tool. Ooh. See where the hammer blew, but he's got a proper hinge fracture there, so it's a problem when you're napping. If your flakes don't go right across and they stop abruptly like that, you've got more work to do. All I'm doing is walking up and down each row looking for that black flat flake of flint, because that's where I find them. So it's nothing technical, it's just keeping your eye out for the right shapes, know which ones to flip over and which ones to ignore. See by the amount I'm picking up, this was a very well worked, busy area. They were doing a lot of napping. And although we're finding a lot of flakes and quite a lot of scrapers, we never seem to find the big finished tools like the axes or the spears or anything too exciting. But they're obviously making them here, but where they went we can only imagine, but we haven't seen any here yet. This time, nothing to say they're not here, we just haven't found them yet. Yeah, that's an end scraper, look. You can see a lot of them aren't very pretty, they were just made for a purpose. Single-use disposable tool. It's still a pleasure in finding it, because it's laid here at least 5,000 years. You're the first person that touches that since the person put it down. In that instance, you're the only person in the world who ever knew that that person existed. That's the last shred of evidence that life once walked here, so it's nice to find it, but I enjoy putting it back, because if I take that away, what is left? Nothing. That's a whole memory erased from the landscape. These will be the last pieces they left. There's probably no bones. And at least we know they were here, you know. As a legacy, that's not bad. Leaving something that lasts for 5,000 or 6,000 years and can still do its job when it's picked up again is, you know, no small feat, that. One last thing we'll have a look at. Another common mistake is these things. Now, that's called a pot lid. That wasn't struck by a hammer. If you look here, that's the centre where it started. So this flake although it looks like a scraper flake. It's a result of ice within the flint. All flints contain water, and when they freeze, that ice expands, and at this point here has expanded enough to pop that off. I have found these that have been worked into a flake, because obviously your Neolithic people found them the same as I do. It's a handy bit of flint when you pick one up. It's not much of a stretch from there to put an edge on it, but it doesn't start in the same way. So, but I've seen a lot of people pick those up and assume they found a tool, when under inspection you'll quickly see that it's just a result of nature. There's no further interference from man whatsoever. So, again, explaining that to somebody who's found what they think is a beautiful tool is always disappointing, so I try and be a bit kind about it. But these are always worth inspecting, because we do find hammer stones out here where the ends have been nibbled, and these are the tools they use to make the tools. There's these brown quartzite pebbles, we call them brown jacks here. That's what they use to break the flint to make these scrapers. So quite a lot of these have got the markings on them where somebody's had them in the hand and used them as a tool. And a good one will have a lot of wear on it where it's been carried for a long time and used again and again, but most of them, again, it's just a simple use it once, leave it where you found it. So some of the light markings are quite hard to spot, but if it's been used to knapped flint, you'll soon see the telltale signs on the faces of the cobble. It's just a flake, but again, counts as evidence. All pieces of somebody's life here a long time ago, so can't call it a tool. We can still appreciate how it got there. Anyway, we'll head back to camp and get a cup of tea. So yeah, hope somebody found it interesting. As always, if I find anything interesting, I'll show you, but for now that's all I found, but it's still been worth looking. So cheers, take care, bye.